did you do last week? Yes? All right. I told you the first thing I was going to ask you today is to spell the chords. Can you go to the board?
Yes.
You're able to.
I'm able to.
Will you go to the board now? I have to tell you, Richard sends me the comments from all of the things that we put up on YouTube. I am so enjoying hearing from people and having them tell us how much they're enjoying boot camp and learning about chords, because there's not a lot of books out anymore, or if there are books out, you have to buy like a whole series of them to get the answers. It seems like nobody ever just writes out how to do things easily. So hopefully in this 6 weeks of boot camp, you're learning how chords work, but today's lesson will be an eye-opener for you. We gave it a lot of thought. We've talked about kind of where this week and next week, what we want to do. By the way, next week is our concert. Barbara and I are playing duets at 11, right after class at 11:30. So plan on staying for an extra hour. We have some fun things that we've been working on. I've been practicing more than I've practiced in years, which is good for me. But anyway, so join us next week. And then the 900 Club, if you have a 900 organ, will be after that. We'll go to lunch and then come back and do 900 Club. So, all right. So what we're going to do first is I told you you have to know how to spell the chords. 7 chords, only 7, right? Okay, so let's have a test. C chord, spell it. C-E-G. So write it up there. C-E-G. Spell an F chord. F-A-C. Yes. Spell a G chord. G-B-D. G-B-D. I love to say that chord. G-B-D. A chord. A, C sharp, E. Remember, that's one of the A chords. A, D, and E. E to sharp in the middle. All right. D chord. D, F sharp, A. Every other letter of the alphabet. E chord. E, G sharp, and B. And B chord. B, D sharp, F sharp. The B chord is B sharp sharp. You have to B sharp. Get it? That's how, never mind. That's how I remember. All right. Now, let's have just a look at that real quick. Now, make another column next to it. Let's do the minors. The 7. Now, all you have to do in the minor chords is see the note in the middle? The E, the A, the B, the C sharp, the F sharp, the G sharp, and the D sharp. All you have to do to make those major chord and minor is flat that middle note. Okay, so here's the minors. C. Can you raise it so that it's right across? You raise the word minor? Yeah, so they're right next to each other. I don't either. All right, C, spell C minor. C, E flat, and G. F minor. F, A flat, and C. Now remember, these are all in the root position. Root means the name of the chord is at the bottom, like a tree, the root. All right, G minor. G, B flat, and D. A minor. A, C, and E. Now look, remember the A, D, and the E chord have a sharp in the middle? If they're minor, they don't. C, F, and G are all white notes. If they're minor, the middle one has a flat. Okay, so D minor, D, F, and A. And E chord, E minor, E, G, and B. And B, D, and F sharp. All right. Sharp. Now here comes the big question. Have you ever wondered, been playing along and playing a melody of a song, and you go, okay, I got the melody, but how do I put the chords? What chord, if I hear a chord change in a song, how what's an easy way to figure out what chord to use? Well, you could be an ear player like Greg. How do you figure it out?
What was the question? How do I figure out what a chord?
Yeah, let's say you're playing a melody. What is your thought process as an ear player to figure out what chord goes with the melody?
Well, I have to look at what note I'm playing in the melody will give me a tip as to what chord needs to be for the left hand.
So even as an ear player, you're matching the melody note to the note in the chord.
Oh, yeah.
Now, see, that's how I learned what I'm going to teach you. And I don't know if I'll give it credit to Greg. Somebody told me along the years. But I don't play by ear. I wasn't wired that way. I learned to read notes, as did probably 90% of the people watching this video, and 90% of the people who have learned to play piano learn to play by notes, don't you think? So if you listen to me really close and don't mess this all up with a lot of thought, this is the thought process for putting a chord with any note, okay? And we're going to simplify it down to like totally simple. All right, now look up at the board. If I'm playing a C note, and I'm just playing along in the melody, and I end up playing a C note, C note, and I'm going, what chord would go with that C note? I'm going to look up there, and I'm going to find all the chords that have a C in it. All right, let's find one. Let's start up at the top. Of course, C chord, right? Next one down,
Yeah.
F chord, and that's it in the majors, right? All right, let's look at the minors. Which chords have a C in it? F minor and A minor. 4 choices. Okay, let's look at a D note. What chords in the majors have Ds? G chord and D chord. And it has a D sharp. We can't use that. Okay, in the minors, which chords have a D in it? Did I say D? Yeah.
You said G.
No, I said D. D. D, D, D.
G and D in the
G and D.
majors.
Now, in the minor scale, chord in the section over there, which chords have Ds in them?
G.
G and D.
What about
And B. 3 of them. Okay, how about E's? Look at the first column. The C chord has an E in it. The A chord has an E in it, and the E chord has an E in it. Now look at the minors. The A minor has an E in it, and the E minor has an E in it. So those are your choices. Now, that's kind of complicated, don't you think? You got to remember all that. Okay, erase it all. Want to cheat now?
Wait,
Yes.
wait, now, wait.
Don't write it down. I wrote it on the back of this paper for you, so just forget it. Okay, erase all that. Now we're going to simplify it and make it way easier. But I need to just show you this first, because this is how ear players figure it out. So we have 2 ways to cheat. All right, one of them is on the fly, when you're just like going fast and you just need to find a chord. The other way is more logical. You got some time to practice and you can think about it. All right? So, you want to stay there?
Just like this? Yes, that's fine.
No, actually I'm going to have to do it. Because otherwise I'm going to have to explain things. Okay. I might as well just get over. I can sit down for the whole class. Thank you, Greg.
I'll just sit in the corner.
No, because you're going to come play in a minute. All right. Here's the logic behind what I'm going to teach you. How many notes are in a scale? All right. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We've talked about this a lot. This is the basis for where chords come from. So if you're playing a song on all white notes in the key of C, if you make each one of these steps of the chord of the scale into a chord, then it'll tell you what chords are in that key or in that song. All right? How do you spell C chord? C, E, G. The first step of a scale is always major. Remember we talked about this last week? D, F sharp, A. We cannot have an F sharp. So the second step of a scale is minor. And the reason we can't have an F sharp is the C scale has no sharps in it, or flats. E, G sharp, B. Cannot have a sharp there, so that's also minor. Remember the middle note? F, A, C, major. G, B, D, major. A, C sharp, E. Can't have C sharp, minor. B, D sharp, F sharp. Somebody sent me an email. If they're watching this video, I'll answer it now, otherwise I'll answer the email. Step number 7, can't have a sharp in either one of these, right? B, D sharp, or F sharp. So step number 7 becomes diminished. Don't worry about that, okay? So we just get rid of this. But it is a diminished chord. All right, now look. Okay, I need to be really careful here. If I know this, major, minor, minor, major, okay, so 1 is major, 1, 4, and 5. Do you know what 1, 4, and 5 means, right? C is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 up is F. If you go to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is A. It's how far the note is away from the root. Okay, now watch, this is really cool. So I'm going to talk really slow so you get it. If you look at the key of C, and pretty much if you're playing by ear, you're going to be in the key of C for a really long time. You could do that for the rest of your life. You don't have to play songs in every key, unless you're accompanying a pianist or something. But if you take this little segment right here, and I ask you, if my melody note is a C, what chord will go with it? Look, where's the C? On 1, and 4, and 6. All right? So the 3 major chords that go with the C note are C, F, and A minor. 1, 4, and 6. The first step, the fourth step, and the 6th step of every scale will give you the chords that will go with that note. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's a standard rule that applies most
Yep.
of the time?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
For easy songs. For just the basic, you know, what, like 10,000 songs. Okay, so far so good? All right, now watch. If we write down the D, E, F sharp, G, A, and B. D, F sharp, A, and I'm only going to do a couple. E, G, and B, F sharp, A, C sharp, G, B, D, A, C, and E, C sharp and E, and B, D, and F sharp. The reason I had to write down the D scale is because I'm playing a D note. Okay? Now, which chords have a D note in it in the D scale? D, 1, G, and 6. So it's D major, G major, and B minor. Now, that's how you find them. Okay, it's 1, 4, and 6. But you've got to know all the scales to do this, don't you? Yeah. Well, you actually don't. You can cheat. Now we'll really cheat. Look, if you're playing an F note, it's easy to find 1, 4, and 6. All right, look. F, G, A, and you'll have a B flat. Your ear will tell you. Greg, can you come up on the organ for just a minute, please? Because watch, this is really cool. The numbers you're going to remember are 1, 4, and 6. Okay? You can even use your fingers because I have 6 of them. So if I'm looking for a chord that goes with an F, I'm going to go F, G, A, B, C, and D. F, A, and D. Minor. F, G, A, B. Yeah, D minor. Okay, watch. All right. I'm looking for a note to go, chords to go with an F. The first one's obvious, right? What is it? F. Major. Okay, play an F note with your right hand. Okay, you'll put an F chord with it and listen. Aha! Are you excited? All right. What note is 4 notes up from F? F, G, A, B, flat. You'll know. Remember the rule for a scale? Whole step, half step. Okay, so 4 is the half step. Okay, what chord is that? B flat. Let's hear the B flat chord with that F note. That sounds good, huh? All right, now we got to find 6. So we have to go up 2 whole steps from B flat. 1, 2. Okay, so and 6 is always minor. D minor. D, F, and A. See, all 3 chords work. So let's listen. Play an F note. F chord. B flat chord. D minor. See? Okay, your faces are not glowing
They believe that.
yet. Okay, now watch. I'm telling you, you have to forget all the technical stuff and just do this. Watch. Now we're going to find G. The melody note is a G, and I need to put a chord with it. Okay? So first one's obvious. What is it? G. Okay, now I'm going to go up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. C chord. And a G note. Ta-da! Now I'm going to go up 2 more from C. E. E what? Minor. There's my 3 chords. Those are the 3 chords that go with a G note. Pretty cool, huh?
And when you're playing a lot of times, because we know to go from the 1 to the 4, we know that does it a lot of times.
Right.
If that 4, if the C does not sound good, try the E minor before you try anything
Right.
else.
So look, if you're playing a G note, you start on a G chord, and there's a C chord. Now watch this. This is really cool. The next chord only has 1 note that has to move. Look, here's C, there's E minor. See? Pretty cool, huh? Well, I'm trying to get you motivated. All right, now, let me show you another way you can do this. You can use the circle. Oh, thank God for the circle. Let's just use that much of the circle for now, okay? Look, if I want to figure out what my 3 chords are for a C note, I use the circle. C, 1 to the right, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 9 o'clock. C, F, A minor. Look, the notes that go with G, G, C, E minor. The notes that go with D, D, G, B minor. So it's 1 to the right and 3 to the left. The relative minor is always, that's called the relative minor, by the way, step number 6. In case somebody out there wants to get technical. But the circle works really great for this because you don't even have to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go C, 1 to the right, C, 9 o'clock. All right, G, 1 to the right, G, back 3, E minor.
I always do that when I'm making a song. I think of all of those.
The circle? Do you play by ear?
Yeah, but how in the world are you going to do a circle in your mind when
You're not. You're going to have it on. I have my circle pretty much attached to the organ because it helps me kind of relate things. But the easiest way to do this is just go, all right, I got a D note. What chord will go with it? D, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? D, E, F, there's 4, and 1, 2, 3. So there's the 3 notes right there. I just had a revelation. Oh my God, I did! This is how I learned all this cheaty stuff. Look what I'm playing. What chord am I playing? A G chord. I gotta study this one, I'll tell you next week. Wait a minute. Okay, what notes go with D? They're the notes in a G chord, look. Okay, let's do this. What notes go with C? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're the notes in an F chord. Okay, I have to work on this one, but that is way cool. Because look, if you're using the circle, maybe this isn't going to help you, but if you're playing a C, just spell all the notes in an F chord, and you got all the notes, all the chords that go. Never mind.
Yeah, that's great.
Next week's lesson.
No, music is incredible. When you start to do this stuff, I'm not going to go there with you because I don't want to mess you up.
Well, can I give a hint that I did when I first started learning chords?
Yep.
I got a paper plate and I wrote the circle on the paper plate, well, all the way around, and I pinned it on the wall above my piano.
Right. We had a contest. See that little 45 record back there? That's cool. Take sticky letters and make a circle and put a record on your wall, like a decoration. I have a whole bunch of 45s. You can go to garage sales and find those all over the place, or a bigger record, whatever, and make a circle out of it. And if you put a nail in the middle of it, you can actually turn it.
Right.
We had somebody in our class in Sacramento. He went into business. He made circles on a stand that you could just turn. Because that's pretty amazing, and he sold them for like $20 a piece. Made a lot of money. Okay, let me show you while you're doing this on the fly, because it's exactly the same thing, and you don't have to think. You want to do that?
Yes.
Oh. That was a bad answer. If you're playing a C note and you're just messing around with your right hand and you want to add some harmony, you can play a C note and do a skip 1, skip 1. Okay? What chord is that?
Yes.
It's an F chord. It's equally spaced. The name of the chord's on the bottom, right? Then, if that doesn't work, you take the bottom note and drop it 1. What chord is that? The note at the top of the biggest space is the name of the chord. A minor. And it doesn't even matter if you call it a minor. Your ear will tell you. If that doesn't sound good, you take the middle note and you drop it down to 1. And now the name of the note at the biggest space is C. Those are the 3 chords that go with that note. You can just do it on the instrument. Okay, look. Here's G. Skip 1, skip 1. What's that chord? C. If that doesn't sound good to you, you take the bottom note and you move it down 1. Now what chord is it? E minor. If that doesn't sound good, you take the middle note and drop it 1. Now what chord is it? G. That's how ear players figure out the chords. And all of them will sound good. Sometimes if you're messing around and you can't figure it out, and you play all 3, people go, wow! So you go... So you can go... See, and just make a progression out of it. Kind of cool. Now, how are you going to use this? Well, on the back of the Canon and C, I wrote the chords that go with each white note. The black note notes we're not so concerned with right now. Just the white notes. We're going to keep it pretty simple. Now, you can use this as a reference. You can also use it if you're not quite in an ear player place yet where you can just sit down and pick out melodies. You can use this when you're looking at a song that you're trying to learn, and you can kind of go, well, that's how the composer got those chords. They came from the scales. All right, but if you look at the other side, okay, I was trying to think of a song. In fact, there's tons, hundreds of songs that you can use, but Canon in D, I changed it from the key of D to Canon in C. Okay? My son, when he was little, called it Taco Bell's Canon. It's Paco Bell's Canon. But, get it? No, never mind. Taco Bell's Canon. So if you look, the first note is an E, right?
Right.
What's the chord? C. All right? There is an E note in a C chord, correct?
Yes.
The second note is a D, and what's the chord? G. There is a D note in a G chord, correct? The next one is an A minor, and the note is C. And there is a C note in the A minor chord. So Pachelbel, all he was doing was this lesson when he wrote this song. He just happened to write it in the key of D instead. Okay, you can change it. Just look right out the D scale and just match them up. Okay? In fact, I don't want to go there today. Remind me to go there sometime. That's transposing class. That's kind of fun. All right. I think we did a class on that. So pretty soon on YouTube they kind of become repetitions. But I'm pretty sure there's a transposing class on there somewhere. Okay. So all we're going to do now, and I wrote how the inversions that you should play the chord over on the right. I don't think you should be jumping all over the keyboard, because if you do, you're going to do this. You'll play C chord, G, you can lock your hand, A minor, E minor, F, C. Now look what he did. C chord, he went down 4 to G. Then up 1 to A minor, and then down 4 to E minor. Then up 1 to F, and then down 4 to C. And then back to F, and then to G. Now, I've been working with a lot of you individually lately, and I'm finding kind of a consistent thread through everybody. Most of you, and some of you that aren't here that I've been working with, are playing during the week, but you're not practicing. See, the way you learn all these little tricks, you'll learn them the same way I did. If you take just a few minutes to back up and go, all right, I can play this song, but I don't really know what the composer was thinking when I did it, when they did it. But look at the chords. If you learn these chords and you play them in the root position, it's C, right? Down 4, up 1, down 4, up 1, down 4, up 4, up 1. And you got the chords for Paco Bell's Canon. Do you know how many songs and how many different melodies you can play with this? Have you ever been to a wedding that had 12 bridesmaids? And they want this song? You can improvise on this song for days and just go and go and go and go. Okay. So here's what we're gonna try and make this fun, because I have a little. When we get to the instruments, I have a background. What's it called? A track that has the song on it, and we're just gonna all play some duets. Okay? So listen. If I play this, I'm just going to put something like a bowed bass on the pedal. Actually, I'm not even going to play the pedal. No, it's bored to do it. And G, and A minor, and E minor, and F, and C, and F, and C. Isn't that pretty? It doesn't even matter if you play a song. You can just go. and find something like romantic ballad or something and push one touch. I love playing for weddings when I have one of these to play on because they think I'm amazing. I'm just sitting there. All right. So we're just going to go. Isn't it? Over and over and over and over. Okay, so here's your assignment. After you learn to do that, I want you to go. You just noodle around. What's the constant?
Chord progression.
The chord progression. You're gonna see that chord progression in so many songs. Okay, now if you're a little more advanced, you could look at the bottom because I gave you something to do with your left hand when you get bored. This is the actual left hand part. It's the chords broken up. That's all I did. Instead of just going like this, put on a harp on the bottom keyboard. I'm good at harping. Never mind. Ask Greg, he'll tell you. Right, Greg? He's sure is quiet back there. Job security. Alright, so you're just going to do this. You're just going to make your hand look like that, and you're going to go C, G, C, G. Make sure I change it. E, C, E, C. Now watch. When I play, you're doing it on running it. Doesn't matter. In a minute we're gonna play with this. Okay. Then if you don't want it, if you don't know how to do this, let the organ do it. Or keyboard, or clavinova. How are you gonna do that? Find something that rolls the notes for you. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go to the acoustic department. I think I'm going to go to the acoustic department. And I'm going to go back. Greg, do you remember where it is? I should have. I think it's guitar arpeggio. Let's see.
Yeah, if you have an instrument that has the word arpeggio on it, it'll create a solution for it.
Now I don't want the drummer. I need to fire him. And I need to slow it down. Now, I can even get rid of the bass if I want to. So now it's just me and the guitar player. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm on a little bit of bass. So now I have a guitar player and a bass guitar player. And I'm going to play an oboe solo. Isn't that cool? Now I'm going to bring in I want some strings to play with my guitar player. Isn't that neat? So if you start weeding out the garbage and you find all these really cool backgrounds, you can actually play this chord progression without thinking. Okay, we're gonna do some hands-on here. Now let me show you what we're gonna do. First, we're just gonna play the melody. And I do not want you to take that sheet with you. Well, maybe you better take it. But watch. Half of you are gonna do this. You start on E, and you're gonna walk back 6. And you're gonna give it 2 counts. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you're gonna go down to G. And then you're going to go up 2. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 2. We're just going to use one finger. Okay? All right. Then the other half of this, well, some of you are going to do this. You're going to start on C. And you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 2. So here's what we're going to hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 2. Then I'm going to pick some people to be the string bass players. These guys. And you're going to play a C chord. Okay? And you're going to play C, C, E, E, G, 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 and D. Okay? C chord. 2 C's, 2 E's, 2 G's, and 2 D's. All right? And I'll pick. I'll pick. Okay, and then we're going to be an orchestra. All right. So Tom and Barbara, right there. These two. Your assignment. Number 1, I want you to learn the chords for Taco Bell's Canon in C. Taco Bell's Canon in C. The chords are written on that paper. C, right? Just as it's written. All right. Then I want you to play the song. The right hand, down 6, up 2. That's all it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take your thumb, take your second finger over, and then just come back. If you want to use all your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dun, dun, dun. When you run out of fingers, you know you got to go one more note, and then come back up 2. Okay? All right. Then I want you to try. Play the chords and just make up some melodies. Play the chords and make up some melodies with the chords from Canon in C. So play the chords and then just let your right hand just kind of noodle around. And you're going to know when you change the chord, you should be on one of the notes in the chord. And that's kind of going to connect your head to the note that matches the chord. And remember, if you're not on a note that's in the chord, what's our slogan? You're never more than one note away from the right note. If you play a note and you go, ooh, that note is not in the chord, just go or and you'll be on the right note every single time. Are you excited?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next week we're going to do one more progression. Practice. You're going to notice that when the chord changes, almost always the note above it is in the chord. Good thing to know, don't you think? If it isn't in the chord, the next note after it will be. Guaranteed. Sometimes they have what's called a leading tone that will lead you to it. All right? But almost, probably 90% of the time, that is the case. And you know, when I learned that, it just kind of made everything easier. See, you can't just play music. You have to understand it. And so many comments we're getting, right, Richard? Yeah. From people that just go, wow! I got one today that said, you know what, I finally get it. It's just been all these years, and I finally get it. And the only way you can get it is do what we did today. Just look at what you're doing and study it. And you will learn. You can teach what I'm teaching. Because that's how I learned. I didn't learn this in college. If you're a college professor watching this, don't be offended. But they teach it's so complicated. You know, they use these big terms and scare the pants off of people. But when I got out of college, I decided I really have to figure this out. I can't get to the next level if I don't understand what I'm doing. Now, there is a next level after this. My husband's there. He taught a jazz class. Barbara was there.
He's about 4 levels on up.
He knows things that I can't even begin to explain. So I'm not ever going to pretend that I'm like this advanced teacher. But what I know totally changed my enjoyment of music. I can sit down now and play for hours because I figured this out. So between the books that you have, if you have my chord book and the DVD, if you have everything you need to know about playing about piano, then between those 2 books, it explains everything. And then after you're done with those, you put the circle and play by ear in there. All the years I've been figuring out shortcuts and ways to play faster and cheat and just enjoy the music are in those books. And I'm sending them all over the world. It's so cool. And then the feedback we get is, oh my gosh, I've had this light bulb moment. And when you get the light bulb moments, it's like you feel like a kid again. And you go, oh, this makes all the difference. Okay? So go home and make some difference. And just have some fun. Okay? Have a good week, everybody.